Welcome back, Generals, to another Let's Fix Generals 0 Hour to make the best game ever. Okay, so last session we did start implementing cursor lock or cursor confinement or clip cursor or whatever we want to call it. We did make some advancements. I ran into a crash here that needs looking into. But before we do that, maybe we check updates here. Yeah. This change adds automatic checking of replays for compatibility to CI. It also adds an additional configuration VC6 release lock to CMake presets JSON. It compiles the game with optimizations, logging, and crashing enabled. That configuration is still compatible and also checked in the CI. It also adds two more headless checks. One disables the dialog that appears when the music cannot be loaded, not included in the game data files. The other is needed because message box wrapper, since a recent change, no longer checks whether there is a window in the current thread. CI internal downloads some game data files which are needed to simulate the replay. Needed to simulate. These game data files are trimmed of files which are not needed in headless mode, audio, textures, GUI. They are also encrypted so only the CI runner can access them. The replays and maps the CI uses to check are also added here to the repository. Needs to be fixed. Okay. A million commits. Okay. Fix veterancy gain, create crash when an object is created. Updated now. Okay, what I said there. Yeah. Okay. New drawable, get object, yeah, draw. Drawable should only be set once at object creation. Okay, so is there an answer to this? He didn't say. He just hit it. Okay, so considering he didn't answer, I guess we have to test it ourselves. My guess is that this code never hits here. In which case we should add a debug assert crash here to check that this is not null. Yeah. Yeah. The original code did not work as intended and could lead to the iterator becoming invalidated by going past the end of the container. Okay. The intention of the original code was to work from the end of the container to get the most recently launched flare. It would then check if the current flare ID was for a valid object, and then check the distance of the flare to the incoming weapon. The code was meant to count that a valid flare had been seen and also check that we were only counting up to the number of flares within a volley. This was meant to break the loop if more available flares were still within the container. Instead, the code, once it had received the valid object, would simply spin its wheels while set on the same object before returning from the while loop. What? It has received the valid object, would simply spin its wheels? What does that mean? It spins its wheels. Huh? The code would spin its wheels. I have no idea what that means. The code would spin its wheels. What does that mean? What is that? While set on the same object before returning from the while loop. I guess it means it does nothing useful. That's my interpretation, but I'm not sure. This means that only the first valid flare in the container was checked against instead of finding the closest. Okay, I understand. To maintain retake compatibility, we have to break the loop after finding the first flare. The corrected behavior counts up flares and correctly sets the closest flare that the weapon could be diverted towards. I see. I see. Okay, closest flare distance, okay. Volley size, max. Volley size 1, volley size. Counted flares. Volley size. So what if the volley size was 0? What then? Okay, it doesn't look that simple on the first sight. Uh-oh. Let's put it side by side. Maybe that would be a bit easier to look at. Split. A bit, yeah. Okay. Oof. I'm actually surprised that this would be wrong because it looks correct to me. Here it keeps counting. And if it finds an object, it will get the distance. If the distance is smaller than the closest distance, it will take that thing. And it will keep going. And it will keep doing that. What's the problem? Let me read that one more time. The code was meant to count that the valid flare has been seen and also check that we were only counting up to the number of flares within a volley. This was meant to break the loop if more available flares were still within the container. Instead, the code, once it had received the valid object, would simply spin its wheels while set on the same object. Only the first valid flare in the container was checked against. But how is that true? Okay, so the original problem is that here it can count down here and then can count down here again, and so it could be past this here, right? Yeah, so that's the original bug. So to me it looks like the fix here is removing this. No, because the loop is here. I see. Let's see. Iterate on max. 1. Oh, okay, I see the bug now, because it's not counting down here. And here, if the object is valid, it just keeps looping over the same object here. Because it's not, the iterator is not being advanced here in this branch. It's only advanced once. Only here. I see. Okay, that's why there's a break here. Yeah, okay, I understand. Okay, that is okay. That is correct. Yes. I see. Okay, and then Mounted flares. This can have a better name. Maybe volley num, or volley. 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 Maybe volley counted. Volley counted. Or maybe volley flare. Volley flare. Smaller than volley size. Volley flare. Or we can maybe volley counter. Volley counter. Smaller than volley size. Can be const. Yeah. Let me search for Visual Studio Code. Volley size 1. File open. Volley size. Yeah, it does exist here. So it can be 2 or 4, 2 or 4, or 3. Yeah. So let's say it was 0. What will happen then? 0. Well, then it never enters here. What then? It doesn't work. It doesn't do anything then. Yeah. But let me ask me anyway, what was the reason to remove max 1? was the reason to remove max1? I mean, it's okay because it's then closer to what the data, you know, tells us. If the data sets it to 0, then it should be 0, right? But I wonder if there's any other reason to this. Yeah. Closest flare distance. Yeah. Yeah. Closest flare. Yeah, so I would say logically it looks correct. Yeah. Yeah. The other variable is called dist. Might keep them consistent. Should this be inside or outside the original code? It is outside. The title, bug fix. Fix broken logic, fix broken and unsafe logic fix broken and unsafe logic in. Countermeasures behavior. Bug fix. About required behavior. Behavior. Logic. So fix incorrect, fix wrong, and unsafe logic. Why is this called refactor? Bug. Bug refactor. Internally allocates a state machine and it already has a destructor to handle that. Okay. All of the states in AI states already clean up after themselves. Okay. Okay. May I change the presentation? AI God in a state. AI God. Okay. Okay. I guess we can trust that this is all correct. There. IETN God. Okay. Okay. Looks good. This change disables the drop-down menu under the player names when setting up a match. There's a drop-down menu under player names? What? uh, I didn't even realize that there's a drop-down menu under player names. Ah, because the slots have... Okay. Interesting. That's a really minor change. Disable the comment box for the host's player name. Yeah. 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 Wow. um, should be inside since we are actually counting a valid flare. The ratio code was not doing what it should have been at this point. Oof. Okay, so let's return to the crash we're having here. What is this? State machine updates the machine. Get prototype. Okay, let me save that real quick so we have a record of it. Yeah. Okay, so the prototype is null, yeah? Check if team auto targets the same victim. Get next mode target. Okay, let me put that here in the watch. Objects, objects, team, null. The team is null. Okay, so the first question I have is if it's related to one of the changes we just did. Maybe it's related to when we touched game logic, maybe we did a mistake. I find this really strange. Yeah, this is really strange crash. Because like when I hover here the game, it looks to be in the score screen. The score screen is populating right now, and it crashes in the score screen. So somehow the game logic keeps updating, which I guess is fine, but there's some objects. Why? What is this object? Worker. Chile infantry worker. Why is it there? Should it be there? Can we go to the game logic? Is that a thing? Yeah. The game logic and object lists. Next. Chile command center. Next. Drain pipe. Game mode, game none. Frame 1329. So I have the suspicion somehow that maybe the reset didn't do anything. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe it didn't reset, right? Yeah. Yeah. Maybe my assumption here with the initialize thingy is wrong. Let me let's repeat that. Let's go to game logic resets. Let's put a breakpoint here. So we go to solo, skirmish, play. We go exit and there we go. That's the problem. I see. So we call this twice. Okay, let's remove this garbage here. I think we don't need it anyway. Yeah. We probably should add something to the subsystems that avoids resetting them twice. Yeah. That's an error. Yeah, let's run it. Okay. Good. So now the cursor is locked into the window. Yeah. Then when we pause the game, the cursor is unlocked. Now it's locked again. Okay, that's nice. Okay, that's cool. Exit. Now it's unlocked. Okay, let's try a replay. Load replay. Cursor is locked. Cursor is unlocked. Pause game. Cursor is unlocked. Okay, that works. That's cool. Okay, that's nice. Let me ask ChatGPT. Are the WM set focus and WM kill focus functions always properly matched, or is it possible that Windows can send one of them twice before the other? Events. Are the events always properly paired? Or is it possible that Windows can send one of them twice before the other? Excellent question. Of course, excellent. In theory, it should always occur in proper pairs, but in practice, you should not assume they will always alternate cleanly. Under normal conditions, they are sent in alternating order. Yeah, but situations where they may not be cleanly paired, focus changes between child controls. A parent window may not get kill focus in the focus if the focus changes to a child control. Likewise, it may not receive set focus if the focus moves between two child windows. Okay. It works most of the time, but you should sanity check the state using get focus or get active window. Use a Boolean flag carefully. Save pattern. Set focus. If get focus equals that has focus. Huh? Why is that needed? Save pattern with verification. Let me ask, why is the if check recommended? It's recommended because Windows can send set focus even when your window is not actually the current focus window. Oh. Okay. 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 Okay, so we do get focus equals application window, yeah. So I guess tweak. Make sure. sure this window is in focus. Sure it is this window in focus. Okay, so we got that. Because can only be captured after an activation event, after one of the windows, after one of the activation events. It is a bit confusing that we have an activate and we have an activate app. Why? Why? Oh man. Here we return 0 and everywhere else was break. No, here's also return 0. What is the difference? Who knows what's up with that? Okay. Okay, the first thing we should do is we should clean up a little bit. Yeah. Let's delete some of the things here. We don't need this. We don't need that. We don't need that. We can remove this here. Mouse. Yeah, we can remove this here. And this. And that. Okay, regarding this one here, here, I would say we call here the mouse on game paused. Paused. We got a mouse. We add a new function on game paused. Bool paused. Then we do void mouse on game paused. Bool paused. If paused. Block capture, on block capture. Now regarding this one here, I would be how about we add a new function virtual void on window focus changed. Bool has focus. Regain focus. Seems to be a common pattern here. Lose focus, regain focus. Yeah. Maybe we just keep it that way. Lost focus. Lose focus. Lost focus. Lose focus is a word. Okay, then we go back to the mouse, and we rename this here to lost focus. Lose focus. Okay, I wonder. Lose focus. Audio manager, sound manager. These are also virtual. So in the mouse, I wonder if we should move this boolean into the mouse class already. Maybe. To lose, yeah. Should it be in the base class or not? I'm wondering if how do other, let's look at the other call sites if they do any checking or if they all just expect that the events work properly. Let me see. Bink player does nothing. That's very good. Audio manager. I think maybe we should do it higher up. Capturing input, clipping the cursor. You want to ensure your exact window really has focus, not just the window thinks it tried. Should I test for anything else in doing focus or kill focus? For example, if the other was called before with a boolean, adding a boolean to track current focus state is a good idea, but it's not sufficient on its own. Jesus Christ, it's more. And cursor clip. This prevents duplicate setup tear down if messages fire redundant or are reordered. Check get focus carefully. Don't rely solely on the boolean, always verify. I guess we could do that. Win main. Let me do it here. What is this? Is win main active? Is win main active? Okay. Let's do a static bool has focus. G has focus. False. Okay, so we say if not has focus and that has focus true. false. Maybe we should put that in the follow-up change and not in this one. Yeah. Let's do that in a follow-up change. Let's revert this here. That's a separate consideration. For now, we just assume it works. So I will remove all this. We can write it again later. Move, size, recapture. What is this here? WM close. If not, get quitting. I guess it's a separate consideration. I will revert this as well. Actually, oh boy. Oof. Oof. The logo spam. So regarding this guy, I will re-add this here. Maybe we revisit this in another change. Okay, so we have a lose focus, we have a regain focus. Good, then we move this here back. Huh? Okay, but now I'm worried because I'm worried by this thing here, because if we get the first event, then does this mean this goes negative or? I would say we move this here. We take this guy and we move that into this mouse. Why is all this public? What is this? Is visible. Okay. Lost focus. Good. So lost focus, we say invisible. Lost focus. False. Then we go to capture. Capture. Recapture. Capture. Not lost focus. Or can we use also the lost focus? The problem I have with the lost focus is what guarantees that we start with... we don't know. We have to make an assumption, right? Okay, let me revert that here. Okay, how about we say... what we can maybe do is so I find this really shady that here we would have to like add up things in advance in order to anticipate things that call unblock on initialization, right? So that's bonkers. Maybe we say block capture counter is 0. Yeah. And then we say if smaller equals 0 capture, and then here we say 0. So we always clamp it to 0. So you can call it infinite time unblock. It will work. Yeah. Clamp to 0. Purposefully clamp to 0. Mainly needed for initialization. Game startup. Initialization is good. Okay, this could work, yeah. Now we don't have this strain anymore that we need to initialize the right amount, because we do get calls from different sides, right? So we eventually on initialization, we get a call from this, right? We probably get a call from game logic, maybe. And yeah. Now we probably do need to start at 1 though. Hold on. So we have init unblock capture. Init. Oh, I'm not sure what I'm doing here. Let me test this. It's quite delicate. Yeah. Or intricate, let's say. Not delicate. Intricate. Lose focus. Lost focus. Lost focus. Okay, so it's not blocked now. Yeah. It's blocked now. Okay, somehow it works correctly. Which is unexpected a bit. I didn't expect it to work. Well, okay, it works. Okay, we tap out and we can, okay, that works. Okay, I'm a bit surprised that it works right now without bugs. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now, let's say we wanted to have a different clip cursor mode. Okay, why don't we hit any breakpoints here? What is this? Oh. 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 Okay, it works because we didn't update the executable. That's why it works. Okay, I expect it's broken now then. Init. Okay, let's see what happens. Unblock capture. Capture. Okay, now it's captured. Now we tap out. That works. Captured. Okay. Okay, so we're captured in here. So if we start a game and we exit a game, yeah, okay. Okay, we need to go back to the constructor. Let's put this here back. Waiting for inits. -1, +1 for mouse inits. +1 for game mode changed. Okay, let's see if that works again. But then I'm not sure if this works because we might have the focus event when that comes in. Let me see. Okay. Okay, that somehow works. Okay, I'm surprised by this. Let me unblock capture. How about we add a if is smaller than 0. And we add a debug crash. Less than the 0. That should not be. How about we make a debug log? Okay. Let's see if that works. In the log. Yeah. Shit. Let me remove all the breakpoints. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Mouse. Okay. The problem with this logging is we can't really see who's doing what, right? How about we add logging to here? On game mode changed. Unblock capture. Block capture. game paused. How about we move also this up here? Init, unblock. The mouse on game paused. Here we need another one. Reset. Block capture. Mouse. CTOR. Mouse is fine. How about we write it like so, plus plus. Okay. Unblock. Minus. I think that makes it a bit less readable, right? Yeah. unblock capture, minus minus. Block plus plus. Plus plus. Unblock. Block. Unblock. Block. Block, unblock, yeah. Okay, if we now launch this, okay, so let's say we tap out, we go back in, solo, skirmish, play game. Pausing, okay, tap out, tap back in. Yeah, okay, so it looks like it works properly. I'm still a bit skeptical though. Let's check the log. Yeah. Okay, so we have now an extensive log. So mouse plus plus. So that's the constructor, yeah. Then init unblock capture. Now the counter is 1. Then we lose focus and the counter is 2. We regain focus, the counter is 1. Yes. Now on game mode changed. On game mode changed. We unblock the capture. Lose focus, 1. Block capture. Game pause. The problem with this implementation is that we cannot see who is actually blocking it other than looking at the log, right? Okay, what happens if we tap out the game as soon as it launches? So it launches, and immediately when we see the window, we tap out. Will it work correctly then? I have a suspicion that it doesn't work then. Let me see. Oh, the cursor is... I see the cursor is locked now. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay, so that's already bugged. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, so there is some bug. And now it's locked. Yeah, okay, so there is a bug when we tab out right when we launch the game. Yeah. Because now the... So previously we only got a lose focus event first. But I suspect now we get a regain focus event first. Let me see. Find. Yeah, see? Now we get a regain focus event. And then... Huh, that came in even before... Oh, wow. Huh. Huh. Oof. 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 Okay, there is more to do. So we somehow get a regain focus event before init. Huh. Regain focus. Is that related to regain focus? Is that related to this bullshit here? Get focus. Equals application HWD. Prevent incorrect set focus events from verify that the focus event belongs to this window. First to this window. This might actually fix it. Yeah. Let's see. So we launch and we tab out very fast. There we go. Let's see. Yeah, that fixes it. Okay, cool. No, it's not. Shit, it's locked. Okay, never mind then. That didn't work. But it's unbugged now. That works. Okay, it's less bugged than before, but it was still bugged. Why? Let's see. Mm. Mm. Okay, that's a bit upsetting here. I'm curious why it still goes through. I mean, the window is certainly not. Maybe we should. Get focus. Maybe what we can do is. Yeah. Static boom. G is focus. And we start with true. G and focus. Do we start with true? Let's start with true. Let's see what that leads us to. We say here if in focus false. And then here we say if not in focus, in focus. Okay, let's see if that will work. Okay, so we launch the application, we tap out, and we move our mouse. Yeah. And we're still locked. Jesus Christ. That is unexpected. Let's see what it says now. Oh, that was not intended. Okay, it also called regain focus still before. Why? Why does it still in focus? True. We start with true. It shouldn't be getting here. How's that possible? Let me put a breakpoint here. That is wild. That is extremely wild. Let's put a breakpoint here as well. Aha, we call this guy. Lose focus. No, I don't. Huh? Huh? Oh, the mouse is not yet created. Oh. Oh. I see. That's a problem. The mouse doesn't exist yet. Aha. Maybe we need to put this behind the mouse. Where's the mouse created? Oh boy. The mouse. Who's creating the mouse? Not the cat. Here. Okay, where's that? Game client in it. Oh. 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 Ugh. Okay, I have an idea. What we can do is in the mouse, CPP. How about here we say if get focus it needs to be in Win32 mouse, I think. Win32 mouse. Does it have an init function? Yes. Mouse init. Then here we say if plus m lost focus true and plus King call. I find this really strange. Kill. Set focus. So we do set focus here. Okay, so the kill focus event basically does not arrive before we get to init. Okay. So if it came, then we would have a block capture call, lose focus. Else. Okay, lost focus, false. Get focus. Let's move this here. Maybe this will work. I think we can simply increment it. Okay, let's see if that fixes the problem. Let's remove the this check here. Man, this is really finicky, right? Really finicky. Oh, tap out, please. It's still locked. Jesus Christ. Okay, so that didn't work. Because we somehow regain focus before we call init. But we don't lose focus before we init. Huh. Okay, let me go to WinMouse. Let's put a breakpoint here. If we actually hit that or not. Okay, that's also unexpected. We're not hitting that. Huh. So it claims we somehow have focus, but it's not true. We have the focus is here on this app. How is this possible? Like the focus is clearly here in this app and not in the game. Why did this not hit? Get focus. So it must mean that this has hit. Let me see that. That is outrageous. So we tap out and now we hit here. How is this possible? How is this possible? That the focus is this window that is not in the foreground. Nothing. How is this possible? That is outrageous. The mouse in it. It's a W3D mouse. Win32 mouse. How many mouses are there? Jesus Christ. So many mouses. Yeah, so I have no clue why it thinks that the window is in focus. How is this possible? Let's see the documentation of this function. Get focus. Return value. The return value is a handle to the window with a keyboard focus. Get focus returns the window with a keyboard focus for the current thread's message queue. Get foreground window. With a keyboard focus. This is really strange. I don't know what to think about this is. There probably is some elegant solution, but I just don't see it right now. When I launch my application and tap out really quickly, then you know we do get the lose focus event, but we don't handle it because we get it before the mouse is created. That's a problem. Yeah. Okay, let me remove this code here again. Maybe we just need to get it to handle that thing. Yeah. Maybe we have to Maybe we have to add static functions to mouse. And then if the mouse is not yet created, we store these. And then when the mouse is created, then we handle these. Could do that. So like we defer these events. Yeah. On startup. We could try that, yeah. Okay, I will take a break here. It has been 2 hours, 40 minutes, yeah. Taking a break, and then next session we try that. Okay, it's quite intricate, this code here. Or the runtime, I don't know. Good, we made some advancements, but unfortunately still not quite there, but that's okay. Eventually. Then I wish you a great day or night until next time. Goodbye.